Welcome to the Cosmic Busker. My name is Bobby Cody. This video is going to be about the quarantine and the Great Awakening. I want to talk about what's been going on lately with the quarantine and the disease. Now, the disease, it's been called COVID-19. People call it coronavirus, China virus. For the sakes of this video, I'm going to call it the Wuhan virus. And as we move on, you'll see why I am calling it the Wuhan virus. It's so that just to emphasize something, Wuhan, it's the Wuhan virus. And you'll see why I'm calling it that in a moment. What I want to do is I want to apply logic and reasoning behind everything that we see going on to give a slightly different perspective than you'd be getting from the mainstream news media about what's going on. And I also want to talk about the lessons that we can learn from this to create a better future, because that's important. It's through tragedies like these that we can become better people, both individually and collectively. So first I want to talk about the quarantine. Now, I'm not sure about everything that's going on in each individual state here in the United States. But I know here in New Jersey, just like New York and Connecticut and other states in my area, it's a hard quarantine. There's a curfew. Parks have been closed, although Murphy just opened up the parks today. Should mention that. All but non-essential businesses are closed. So it's a really, really hard quarantine. Now, the question becomes, for me, what does a curfew? Why would you have a curfew? Why close the parks? I mean, you can still have social distancing and have the parks open. There's a lot of things that don't quite make sense with regarding to what's going on with these quarantine rules. In my opinion, and I'm going to show evidence to prove it, this isn't being done because of the Wuhan virus. A curfew doesn't stop the spread of a virus. It doesn't matter if I'm out there at midnight or if I'm out there at 12 o'clock noon. It doesn't change whether there's going to be the spread of a virus or not. So why even have a curfew? I think it's done to assist in preventing further attacks. I don't think the Wuhan virus is natural. I didn't from the beginning. I felt it was a bioweapon almost certainly. And there is evidence to that regard, and I'm going to show you that evidence in a moment. And I also want to mention Tim Pool. I actually just today, Tim Pool, he's a great journalist. He has his own YouTube channel. He did a video, I think it was yesterday or today, about how Trump believes that this is not natural and that this came from the Wuhan as well. I didn't look at Tim Pool's video because I saw the headline and I was like, wow. I didn't want his information to taint the video that I plan on doing, this video right now. But I do link to it down below. Tim Pool's a great journalist. I love the work that he's doing. So I suggest you take a look, see what he says. I'm gonna watch the video after I do this one, not before, because I don't want his video to affect mine and what I'm gonna say. This is gonna be complicated enough as it is. So now I want to talk about the evidence that this is a bioweapon. Okay, it was on January 28th. The Department of Justice, the United States Department of Justice, posted a article, webpage on their website. And I'm going to put it up here right now so you can see it. It's Harvard University professor and two Chinese nationals charged in 3 separate China-related cases. Okay, they say there's separate China-related cases. So if there's 3 separate China-related cases, why are they all in one article? You'll see in a moment. They're separate cases, but they're all tied in together, and they have to do the quarantine right now. First, we'll take a look at this. The Harvard University professor's name is Dr. Charles Lieber. He's a preeminent Harvard University professor. His specialty is in biochemistry. Biochemistry is viruses and all the different biochemical processes that take place in the human body. Turns out Dr. Charles Lieber was secretly working at Wuhan University of Technology in China for the Chinese government. So he was arrested. Remember, this is Wuhan University of Technology, and he's a specialist in biochemistry. Then we have, there's another one in the same article on the Department of Justice website, all tied in together. The Chinese national is named Zhao Zheng. He was arrested. Zhao Zheng, the Chinese national doing research in Boston. He stole 21 vials of biological research and tried to smuggle it out of the U.S. to China. He hid 21 vials in his sock. Okay. The third individual in this Department of Justice article is Yang Qingyi, and she is a Chinese national who claimed to be a student studying here in the United States from China, but it turned out she was really a lieutenant in the Chinese Armed Forces who was spying here. And what was she studying here while she was spying? She was studying biomedical engineering at Boston University. So we can obviously see why they tie these three together. We have a Harvard University professor who's biochemistry, who's secretly working at the Wuhan University of Technology. We have Zhao Zheng, a Chinese national, tries to smuggle biological research out of the U.S. to China. And then we have Yang Qingyi, who's a biomedical engineering at Boston University, who's also spying for the Chinese. These are all tied in together, obviously, and I think they relate to the quarantine. Now, note that the date on this Department of Justice website article is January 28th. 3 days after this was posted, Trump restricted all entry from China. I think these are all obviously connected together. He feared that this was a biological attack, and that they were actually taking biological research probably in the attempt to do more biological attacks on the United States and potentially the world. I also want to talk for a moment about how we can use this situation, this quarantine, this potential pandemic for positive good. In my own situation, anytime something negative happens, I try to use it as a transformation. I try to transform the negative that happens to me into something positive, pull something positive out of it. And that's what we need to do with this entire situation. We should learn many lessons from this, and I'm going to go over some of the lessons that I think we should learn from this. And if you have any others that you would believe that we should learn from this as well, please post them down in the comments below. There may be some aspects of this I may miss, some things, some positive aspects that we can take away from this to make our society a better society. First of all, and most importantly, I think we need to find a way to give all citizens access to health care. Health care isn't a right. It's ridiculous if people say it's a right, but any society that is a well-functioning society should be able to give all of their citizens access to health care in whatever way or means that happens. And I think that's absolutely important. And that's never been more important now with this potential pandemic that we have. Without giving all of our citizens access to healthcare, it puts all of us in danger. It really does. So I think that's one of the first lessons we have to do, is make sure that everybody in the United States is covered appropriately. We should have done it a long time ago. Fine. Let's do it from this point on and find a way to do it. The other thing, other aspect of this that we learned is free internet, Wi-Fi. I think that, right now we have kids who are schooling from home. They can't go to school. Schools are closed. What happens if you're poor? There are many poor people who can't even afford internet service. How are their kids going to be able to go to school? And you think, oh, how can you not be able to afford health, internet service? Yeah, people are that poor. If it's a choice of between being fed and having internet, you're going to choose being fed for the internet. And I know for a fact that there's people who have had kids who, I don't have home internet service. How am I going to go to school? And the community has rallied around them and purchased internet so they'd be able to continue their schooling from home. So the important lesson from this to me is that we need to have open Wi-Fi. Cities should have open Wi-Fi citywide, so that kids who need to school from home, or when situations like this arise, that they will have access to internet and be able to communicate with their teachers and their peers and continue their schooling. I think that's very important. Another thing that we have to do is end this open border nonsense. The borders are there for the reason. They're there to protect us. Nothing drives that home further than this pandemic in which we have been forced to close down our borders and essentially quarantine the United States. It's important we know who's coming into this nation, not only for terrorist-related incidents, but because they could bring diseases that potentially wipe out large numbers of people, and that's vital that we do that too. Another thing we have to do is rebuild our manufacturing base. Since the 1970s, the manufacturing base in the United States has been destroyed, and it has been intentionally destroyed. This isn't just some happenstance thing. There has been an intentional destruction by our leaders of the manufacturing base in the United States that has almost completely wiped out the middle class in the United States. Never, in my opinion, has the United States has such a large gap between the haves and the have-nots, and that's because of that manufacturing base that has been gutted and destroyed by our leaders ever since the 1970s. And this isn't just about the middle class, but this is something that we're learning now. We should have learned it a long time ago. We should let this happen to begin with. But now we know we never should let the manufacturing base be destroyed, not only because of the destruction of the middle class, but because now we have to import all our medicines. We have to import all our protective gear. We have to import all our masks. All those things should be built and manufactured in the United States. Because when a situation like this arises, and all of a sudden there's a shortage, and China, like, we can't sell you our mask. We need the mask for ourselves, and then we're stuck, and we don't have masks. We don't have the appropriate equipment or medicines to care for our people. We need to make sure that we have a manufacturing base that can sustain ourselves independently of other nations. So anything else that you might think of that would be appropriate to add, please add them down in the comments below. Like, share, subscribe. Thanks for watching and listening. I'm going to try to do another video on Monday, I believe it is. I'm going to probably post this Saturday night right now. I'll probably end up posting this on Sunday morning. You'll be watching this, and hopefully Monday I'll do more. So again, like, share, subscribe. Thanks for watching. Everybody have a great day and be safe.